In today's episode of Film Jury, we are going to be deliberating on Shelby Oaks, which was actually released in 2024, but had a wide distribution release just this past weekend. It is written and directed by Chris Stuckmann in his feature directorial debut, and it stars Camille Sullivan, Brendan Sexton III, Keith David, Sarah Dern, Robin Bartlett, and Michael Beach. I am the host who has never lost footage to be found, James Patrick.
And I'm Kat Stratford. And I don't have a fun tagline. I'm just over here keeping it tempestuous, I guess.
There you go.
And I'm Kristina Patrick. Apologies. I am the technical difficulties.
You're the one
I love that.
struggling with tech. You would fit perfectly into the technical issues of the found footage.
Yeah, no,
It's true.
We are still looking for your footage. All right. So let's look at just kind of like an overview of this movie. We have paranormal investigator YouTubers Riley Brennan, Laura Tucker, David Reynolds, and Peter Bailey, collectively known as the Paranormal Paranoids, who go missing while investigating a prison in ghost town Shelby Oaks. All the bodies except Riley's are eventually found, and only one of two cameras is recovered, containing some ominous footage of the terrified Riley. 12 years later, Riley's older sister, Mia, is interviewing for a documentary about Riley's disappearance, and she is asserting her belief that Riley is still alive. Mia's marriage to her husband, Robert, is under strain in the wake of the paranoid's bodies being discovered, compounded by their constant failure to conceive a child. After the documentary crew leaves, a stranger, Wilson Miles, arrives at Mia's door and said, "She's finally let me go," before executing himself in front of her. He was holding a DV tape labeled Shelby Oaks that Mia hid from the police and watched herself, which revealed Riley's kidnapping. Mia then goes to investigate what was happening in the tape to see if she can track down what happened to Riley. From there, she comes across a cabin in the woods inhabited by an old woman named Nora, who we discover is Miles's mother, and that Miles kidnapped Riley, and under the influence of Nora and being we'll call it devotee of the incubus Tyrion, Miles repeatedly tries to conceive with Riley, each a failed attempt until a baby is actually conceived. Mia tries to break Riley free from her captivity and the baby, takes Riley back to her house, and then when Riley comes to, she tries to eliminate her offspring, only to have Mia try to stop her and end up killing her own sister, as we see the demon appear behind Mia, and Mia's eyes glow to reveal that she is now the protector of this demon offspring as credits roll. Okay. There's a lot.
Every decision was bananas.
Agreed.
Like I'm listening to the recap with and I just because at every point, yeah, like I'm gonna hide the tape from the police. Let's go into the cabin in the woods. You know
Common
what? Does it
sense
have a
fled
creepy
very
basement?
quickly.
Let's go in there.
There was, I mean, and we'll get into like my confusion of the Mia character and anything that was motivating her throughout this. And, I'll just kind of spoil it. Like, I just didn't get her at all. And it was hard to get behind her as a character this entire film. But going into this movie, I don't know about you two, but I actually didn't watch a lot of the promotions of this movie. I saw a few seconds of the trailer and intentionally chose not to dive into it. I know there was a lot of hype around this movie because this was, as I mentioned, it was the directorial debut of Chris Stuckmann, who was or is a YouTuber film critic. And this was his opportunity to create something of his own. And I was into that. I had bought into that hype a little bit. But clearly, as we go into this movie, it is kind of revealed very quickly that there's a lot of shortcomings, that this is his directorial debut, that this is not a seasoned director. This is not someone who brings a lot of experience or mastery to the art of filmmaking. So I think I was really confused when the movie started of what was happening or what I was seeing kind of transpire on screen.
I had I came to a lot of similar conclusions as you, but it had a wildly different experience with this movie. I really do see Mike Flanagan is an executive producer, and
Yeah.
I'm not sure how involved he is in this film. I personally feel like I saw his fingerprints in a lot of places, and it reminded me
Yeah.
a lot of his earlier work. It reminded me of Oculus,
Mhm.
which is an amazing film,
Mhm.
but for me is one of Mike Flanagan's like weaker films.
Ironically, which speaks to his catalog.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
Absolutely.
and so like for me it kind of mirrored that. That was an Oculus joke. Um, I think I'm hilarious, you guys. So for me, it kind of like they even had like the mirror eyes. We've already given full spoilers, so I don't think I'm spoiling anything. That like she has the mirror eyes. We see that like throughout the film. So to me, it reminded me a lot of like Mike Flanagan's early filmmaking, but like my experience in the theater was definitely different than yours because like as soon as I heard, I am so scared. I was sat. I was in my seat because I'm like, oh, we're doing Blair Witch.
One of the first lines in the movie is
Mhm.
a direct homage to Blair Witch. Like the fact it's found footage, the fact that it's an upward angle, and the fact that she is using that line, I am so scared. Immediately they're like, okay, this is Blair Witch. We're doing Blair Witch. That's what I took.
Yeah, it was pure nostalgia. Like I think that actually like I would have to go back and rewatch, but like I think that might have actually been the first line of dialogue that we hear is, "Guys, I'm so scared," or something.
Christina, when did you see it?
On Saturday morning.
Okay, you went to a matinee show. I went to a matinee
Yeah.
show as well, and there were only, I think, 3 other people in the theater with me. Was your theater pretty empty?
Me and one other person.
You and one
And we
other.
both sat in the way back.
And what about you, Kat?
I love this. I was the only person in that theater.
What-
I went to see it last night, Sunday night.
So you saw a night show.
Yes, and I was
And
the
it was still
I am
empty.
routinely like the only person in this movie theater though. Like it's so that might be I don't know what we can gauge from that.
Well,
But
it's
it
too
was a delightful experience because I am a little bit of a screamer.
I think it's too early to see any numbers from, because this is opening weekend. But that concerns me. Like I've mentioned this film
Yeah.
to a lot of people, and a lot of people have not, like the response is, who is Shelby Oaks? Not what is Shelby. So there was some lack of marketing that,
Yeah.
and to touch on what you were saying, Kat, I was kind of pulling some background on the film. So the film was made in 2022. I think at
Mhm.
that point, Mike Flanagan jumped on it. And once he jumped on, there were extensive reshoots in 2024, and I think leading into this year. So I think if you're seeing influence from Flanagan, it is in stuff that they reshot, that, because there was an additional
Yeah.
budget added to it to add in additional photography.
Yeah, there was a note
Um,
that they tightened up the film with those reshoots, so
they tightened up the film with it, you said?
yeah.
Okay. Um, well, let's start to unpack it. Let's kind of go through the film, and let's start with the opening. So we start with archival and found footage of these YouTubers, the paranormal paranoids, as
Terrible name.
they're. It's going to be so hard to keep saying that.
I had beef with it the whole movie.
They even called it out at some point in the movie.
It honestly like pulled me out of the movie occasionally. I would be like, it's a terrible name.
I love how they did call it out in the movie that, because she flubs it herself and she's like, that's such a stupid name. I'm like, yeah, it is. So we're seeing all this archival footage, and we see the footage of Riley's character played by Sarah Dern. And then the footage just ends abruptly. And then we kind of go to like, there's a lot of newscast footage as well. This was bothering me, and here's bothering me. Like, I didn't mind Sarah Dern as Riley Brennan. I was into that. Like, I'm hooked at the beginning. But when they cut to all this newscast footage, which, Midwestern, late night, evening news, they're referring to all of these individuals by their titles as hosts of the YouTube show Paranormal Paranoids. That would never happen on a newscast. They would never lead with that. They would lead with 14s are missing. And the fact that they have a YouTube channel would just be an addition. But
Yeah,
it was like
an afterthought.
It was like, clearly this was made by a YouTuber who like is self-aggrandizing, as we do this show for YouTube. But that was pulling me out of it. Then all of a sudden they switched to a documentary. Like, it's just this hard cut, and now we're in a documentary. I'm like, oh, okay. So we're doing a documentary and we're just bringing in this archival footage. And this is where we meet Mia Brennan, the older sister played by Camille Sullivan, as she's being interviewed about this disappearance and her, I guess, like the fallout that has impacted her from this.
I will say, just one minor note about the docu-style thing, that they were showing news clippings and even YouTubers. And they were showing actual YouTubers. They pulled in actual YouTubers to do bits on this, to kind of do reporting.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen a lot of that in movies, especially more because more and more movies are touching on the digital space. And there are movies that don't do it well, but I think that this movie did it well, where it felt fun, but it didn't take me out of it to have them included.
I agree. I agree with you, Kristina. I actually never would have picked up on your note about the newscast. But honestly, like they had me like hooked right from that very first line of dialogue, because as soon as I realized, oh, we're doing Blair Witch, like I was instantly like into it, and I was gonna buy anything they were selling me.
I would say I appreciated the quality of how it looked. I think the archival footage looked really good. Like when they're pulling archive footage, like especially of that theme park, I think the found footage looked good. I think the YouTube thing, okay, we can disagree on that. Like it felt like, I'm not surprised that those were real YouTubers that they pulled.
Yeah, like I watched some of those channels.
And that doesn't shock me. It felt like, oh, hey, read this on your next show and send us the file. That it felt like that. But I'll do it because that's serving the audience. Like if the audience is into this stuff, they're part of it. They're making the audience part of the process. I'm fine with that. The part I really start to struggle with is not the switch to the documentary, because I actually think I was so impressed with how that looked like a real documentary.
Mm-hmm.
As someone who does a lot of doc interviews, that looked like how I would light it. It sounded like how I would have set up the audio for it, the cuts to the B-roll. I loved everything about that.
Yeah.
Until Mia starts speaking. I've never seen this actress before, Camille Sullivan. She's giving me nothing here. I'm really struggling with buying anything she's trying to deliver in regards to that she's actually the sister of this character.
I'm so excited to fight with you about this movie. I could tell you didn't like this movie, and I really liked this movie. Like not to reveal my Gavels score like too early, but like I'm so excited to fight with you about this. Because again, they had me hooked from the beginning. I was gonna buy anything they were selling. I did not question her motivations at all. and I like I was just immediately like looking at every single frame for like hidden, like I'm gonna say hidden Mickeys. That's like a Disney reference, but like
Yeah,
but
Stuff in the
I was
background.
literally looking for like
me too.
hidden demons in the frames and stuff. And like and I was so much more focused on that than I guess the quality of the acting. And now I want to rewatch it to see if it was that bad.
It's bad.
I
She's
we're fighting.
stunted.
We're fighting. Cash me
Yeah.
outside.
She's stunted. And her husband is even more stunted. That's
Well,
The husband, yeah.
I just read him as like a straight man.
Fair.
yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
I thought it was a very accurate performance.
Good
Looks
observation.
a lot like straight men.
Good observation. I'll tell you what I loved is the very next scene, which is they're wrapping up the docu-series, or they're pausing between takes, and someone's at the door.
Mhm.
And she opens the door, and we have the character Wilson Miles, who we learn a lot about later in the movie. And the gun comes out, the gunshot, and which I did not see coming. That jumped
Brutal.
me out of my skin.
Yeah, I'm
And
glad I didn't see the trailers because that was in the trailers.
what?
No,
Okay,
it
that's
wasn't.
unfortunate
It
that they
was.
spoiled that. That's unfortunate that they
Like
spoiled
when
it.
I got home, I immediately watched the trailers. I'm like, well, okay.
I saw some trailers on TikTok and like none of them framed this as like being like a Blair Witch thing at all. And I feel
Yeah.
like if they had done that, they would have a line out the door.
I think there was
Mhm.
it could just be the studio doesn't have as much faith in it, and they just want to see what early screenings do before they put a bigger budget behind it. But all of a sudden we smash cut to cinematic footage. And we've now introduced that and we hit the title card. Now's when we hit the title card, Shelby Oaks. I was in love with that.
Yeah.
Because
It
what
was
it
so good.
did was it transitioned from, okay, is this whole thing going to be found footage / docuseries? All right, I have kind of split feelings about that. We've seen a lot of that before, and now all of a sudden I realized that the docuseries and the found footage was a setup, and it changed our expectations. And when we hard cut to the cinema, I am in love with that cut. I think that
Yeah.
opening is absolutely brilliant. And we're, how long are we into the movie? We're like 15, 20 minutes into, like we're a clip into this film to start the movie. And that was, I think, just a very well executed opening.
Yeah, it's a beautiful way to kind of get the background out and then just, pun intended, bang right into the movie. Yeah.
It, like absolutely took me out when that happened. It was a brutal scene.
So then we have Mia getting this DV tape, watching the DV tape, and remind me, is in this DV tape she's seeing the stuff of Riley, but it seems like the footage is overlaid old footage. Is this the right moment? Because it keeps like glitching out and like cutting back to her playing the guitar. Is that the right moment?
Or it's like almost like it's re-recorded.
Correct.
And it's
Yes.
glitching,
Am
yeah.
I remembering that correctly?
So are you talking about the shot where she specifically said, like the one where we can't hear what she says, but we think she's saying he's back, Mia?
Yeah, I think so.
That could be it. I just thought that was interesting. How do you only have one DV tape that you're re-recording over you singing on the guitar? I thought that was weird.
I a little bit weird, but also I don't know if you caught what the lyrics of that song were. They actually played it for the ending credits.
Yeah, Big Sister, Won't You Find Me?
Yeah, very on the nose. There's a man that haunts me that nobody sees. Like,
These are the details I need. Like, so by the way, Kristina, this is your first time like ever meeting me. I use hearing aids. I'm like deaf, and so sound design is something that I don't always catch in movies. And like, I love that you just told me that.
Well, happy to help fill in the blanks there.
I also
like
think
I'm just putting these Easter eggs in my basket.
there was, I mean, the movie was chock full of that, and I also think
Mhm.
the fading in and out of the DV tape of her disappearing to the old footage of her playing the guitar. I think that was kind of like foreshadowing this idea that they're trying to play out later in the movie where she's predicting the future by kind of like overlapping those two together. I think that was just another attempt at that. It just doesn't make any logical sense. Like that you would only have one DV tape and you're recording over yourself singing.
To me, I thought like that was just like further evidence of like this overwhelming demonic presence that has clearly actually been, again, we're doing full spoilers, has been in their lives their entire lives. Like one element that we haven't really talked about is that Riley has been having night terrors her whole life, and has been having visions of a man standing outside of her second story window her whole life. Nobody has ever seen anybody out of her window, but there is a mysterious crack that appears, and at one point, like her sister Mia also sees something. So like we know that they've been like under the influence of some kind of demonic presence their entire lives. And so I thought that the cutbacks in the footage were just like evidence of that, because like as we know, demons love to fuck with recordings.
Yeah, and like if the demon is summoning Mia, especially hitting on the lyrics, "Big sister, come save me," like
the demon's controlling the narrative. That's the that's the take I had, was the demon was setting Mia up this whole time to bring her in as the protector of this child.
Right.
Knowing what the future would be. So we then have Mia then go off and do some personal investigation. Doesn't inform the police, just to, which, okay, we talked about how that makes no sense.
I will give an iota, like devil's advocate here. Riley's been gone for 14 years.
12.
They technically, 12 years, but they have a killer, quote unquote, a killer. The police probably aren't going to investigate much further. Like after how many years, like they assume she's dead. They're not going to assume she's kidnapped.
I don't buy that.
It's still a stupid decision, but I understand her mental state.
I think because the tape shows her being kidnapped.
Yeah.
So,
but again, 12 years.
Yeah.
True. Like I can see both sides of this. What I thought really didn't make sense about that whole sequence was just like he offs himself, and he very blatantly he has two things in his hands, a gun and this Shelby Oaks tape, and like it's on camera, like and so the part that didn't make sense to me was how she was even able to like hide the tape. Like
the docu didn't catch her. Yeah.
Like I that part didn't make any sense. I'm like, everybody was in the room and saw this, so like how did nobody else see the tape? But just once she goes into like the prison and stuff, I'm like, girl, maybe call a friend.
Yeah, I mean, I think they established, especially with like when she's starting to do research, and then talks to her husband, and the husband walks out. It's like the isolation of the protagonist, like, which is a trope in horror movies where like nobody believes her. She has to do this on her own. She has nobody to call in for backup.
One thing I want to point out on that tape, and Kat, I'm wondering if you missed this. So when she's watching and you actually see the deaths of the three other investigators, and the one goes outside, all of a sudden there's a hard stop of all the insect sounds.
No, I did not get that.
Okay, so you hear all the crickets.
I didn't catch that either.
Oh yeah, you hear all the crickets and all that, and then he goes outside on the front porch, and all of a sudden everything goes silent. I'm getting goosebumps now, retelling it because of how effective that was. And then he kind of turns the corner, and I think it's the hellhound that gets him.
No, I think that's when the guy comes around the corner.
Oh, okay. I couldn't tell what it was. It was done so quickly.
It was like all you saw was the guy's shirt.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah, and that was a jump scare that was also in the trailer.
Yeah. I was like taking notes, and I was like, that jump scare.
Yep.
So Mia now has to go investigate, and for some reason she brings her own laptop to the library because we can't film this in 2 locations. She has to do research on her laptop at the library before
Yep.
she starts looking at microfilm, which I just thought was funny.
Me
And then she then goes and meets with the warden, played by Keith David. I have an issue with this, and I love Keith David. Like the Thing, They Live.
Yeah.
He's the only recognizable face in this movie.
True.
That was a bad cast. That was a fan service cast because, hey, let's bring on someone that we all recognize. I mean, I got my, the Thing shirt right now. We recognize him. He's an actor. This feels so planted. That took me out of it. And also, I was thinking he was part of the reshoots. I was like, I wonder if they just had money, so they wanted to bring a name actor in, but he was part of principal photography after.
Okay.
And he's the one that kind of leads her into like looking into the prison, which, okay, we're now looking at the prison. Here's my thing. Like she gets like jump scared at the prison. Why does she then go to the amusement park right after? It's like she runs out of this place like terrified, and she's like, oh, let me go somewhere else scary.
Yeah, it at times it felt very like Scooby-Doo mystery style where, oh, we have a clue, get a scare, follow this clue to another clue, get a scare.
It did, like, I wondered the entire time where her self-preservation was. Like,
Gone.
because like I too would want to find my missing sister, but perhaps not bad. Like, I'm sorry, the footprints in the prison cell were spooktastic. Like,
The prison cell itself was wonderful.
Like,
I
would have been done for the evening after that.
Yeah.
and then
Call it
she
a
finds
day.
a
Come back
mysterious
in daylight.
cabin in the woods. She literally follows a hellhound. I'm like,
which why? Yeah, like that.
Why?
The hellhound that almost bit your face off in the prison.
maybe I should follow him. He seems friendly.
Yeah, that was. I don't know if you noticed while she was at the amusement park, it like panned to a tree, and there was like a missing flyer taped to the tree or taped to a pole that said, "Have you seen these YouTubers?" Which I'm like, isn't this town abandoned? Why are we putting missing flyers in an abandoned town? That was an unnecessary thing, I thought.
There were quite a few like holes like that or just like things where I was like, this was a much longer conversation that needed to be had, but there were just a few things like that.
So she goes to this cabin, and then we meet Norma.
Wait. Before we move on to that, there is one cool thing about the prison scene I want to touch on.
Sure.
When the dog goes to attack her and you see the hand of the demon stop the dog.
Yes.
I liked that because that was a nice hint that the demon was like, no, this one's mine.
I saw that and I didn't clock the reason why until now. That's a really that adds
That's
to
a really cool insight. Yeah. Because I didn't clock that either.
And
apparently I'm just like having fun watching. I'm just like eating my popcorn.
It was
having
really fun
ball.
watch. I did enjoy it. And one more thing I didn't want to clock. So she goes to the Ferris wheel. She sees the carving of the R and the M, Riley and
Yes.
Mia. And then she turns around because she hears a noise and there's the forest scene. Because you had mentioned looking for things in the background. Anybody see the man behind the tree?
Mm-mm.
Yeah. It
Well
was
done.
on the left side, but then the camera pans right and he's gone. Like it was a split second, but that gave me some shivers.
I love things like that. I've been rewatching the Hill House Netflix show.
Yes.
All on my carpet.
It's another Mike Flanagan.
I'm just like watching every scene slowly to find stuff hidden. I
all
love
the hidden figures because like almost every episode of that one has hidden ghosts in the background.
Yeah.
Almost every frame has like hidden stuff. He did the same thing with Bly Manor too.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very, very cool. Like I love stuff like that. I've been obsessed with like looking for things like that since shoot, there is it's not even that good. Darkness Falls. It's like an early 2000s horror movie.
Yep. Tooth Fairy.
Yes, the Tooth Fairy. And the Tooth Fairy, like her ghost wears like this porcelain mask. So the entire film, like they have planted like you know, like the kid will have an alien lamp and it's like one of those early 2000s aliens that's like white face with big eyes. So it's like it's mirroring like the mask that you're already on the hunt for. So like I was obsessed back then with how like that fucked with me, and I continue to be obsessed with how horror movies play with that kind of thing.
The thing I love about horror films and why we're going to be doing so many horror films on this show, I was thinking about it leading into this morning because this being our first episode, is I really feel the horror medium is going to be one of the most cinematically creative mediums for this reason. It is often one of the most underfunded genres when it comes to productions because studios don't want to put a lot of money behind horror. They want cheap productions that have maximum revenues. And when you have a cheap production but are expected to deliver such insane results, you have to get very, very, very creative and inventive. So we often see directors and cinematographers and filmmakers do some of their most innovative and creative work because of the constraints and the limitations that they're given. And you know, this movie in particular, like this is not a high budget film. This was a bootstrap movie that got production support for reshoots. But this is clearly a testament to the fact of someone who's just passionate about filmmaking, who, you know, and, you know, yes, we're kind of tearing some stuff on this because that's kind of the point of the show, but we can't ignore the fact that this is not made by someone who's just trying to make a quick buck. This is made by someone who has a love for the craft and has a love for that storytelling. And that is evident in a lot of what we're seeing.
Yes, absolutely.
I want to prevent an alternative timeline and conclusion. We meet Norma. What did you notice all over Norma's house? They panned the camera on it a lot. The black mold.
The
But
mold.
also like we see like it's made clear to us that everything that her kid touched like crumbled. Like he goes to prison and the prison deteriorates. Her house is being eaten by mold.
Yeah.
There is decay here. Yeah.
Yeah, like sorry. Princess Buttercup has strong opinions.
Buttercup has big opinions.
And I was thinking about the mold the whole time. You're rewatching Haunting of Hill House, so like as you're aware, that is also a factor in that one too.
Yeah, if I didn't know Mike Flanagan was part of Shelby Oaks, like the mold would have given it away. Because it felt like stylistically the same.
What if the mold was causing Norma and her son to hallucinate the incubus?
I considered that also. And I also considered like, could that explain all of the failed pregnancies? Like
that would have been a fascinating thing to explore, which is what if none of the stuff of the incubus is real, but entirely imagined based off mold poisoning?
Yeah.
And Mia's own interpretation of the incubus is due to her own exposure when she went into that house. That's not what they did, but I'm saying, wouldn't that have been interesting?
I think it's like an interesting thing that like lives in your head, because I don't think what you're saying really cancels out what I saw. Like she still could have hallucinated that whole thing. Like, I mean, I don't really know how she could have hallucinated the wild dogs eating her sister at the end, but like, you know, for the most part, I'm like, that part I guess is pretty legit, but
that single part in that, I don't know if you want to call it a fight scene, that took me out of it.
I will say like anytime I was seeing like those special effects, I was like, it is a movie again.
Yeah. So when Riley and Mia are
struggling,
they find the baby basically. Yeah. and then Norma / Tyrion lifts Riley into the air and then slams her down. Like
Okay.
I'm loosely calling it a fight scene.
She has her
First of
force
all.
powers all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Did I blink? What happened to Norma? Did she just die from blood loss?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, she like slits her
I
wrist.
saw her slit her wrist, but then she's so powerful, like throwing people around with the force, and then she just and then Tyrion disappears.
Yeah.
Where did the demon was right behind her and then just goes away, and then Mia's like, okay, we're good.
Because she slits her wrists and feeds the baby the blood, and I got the impression that was like a sort of transference ritual. Like, okay, now the demon's in the baby, so I figured that's why the demon went away and Norma was good to go. She doesn't have to take care of the baby anymore because like the mom the mom of destiny has arrived.
Right.
Okay. Sure.
Like the goal was Mia. Like that was the
well, and so who carved the R and the M and the heart in the house? Who carved that?
That would have been why am I blanking on the sister's name now?
Shelby.
No, not Shelby.
Riley.
Who is Shelby Oaks?
Yeah, who is Shelby Oaks? Riley. So Riley.
I assumed it was Riley.
Because the symbol is like that was something their mom did to signal this is how to find your way home. Remember that there was that statement. So why would Riley carve that into this house that she's being captive in?
But there's precedence of Riley doing it before. Riley did it at the amusement park. Like it was on film, and then like the film, whoever was filming was like, confused, and she's like, "Oh, Mia will get that later.
Mia will get it."
Okay, so
there's precedence of Riley doing that before.
So Riley wants to bring her sister in. I'm not tracking that.
I think Riley did on some level want to bring her sister in.
Okay.
We really don't get much from Riley after her captivity. She is not a full person ever again. She doesn't have like her motivations aren't clear other than like she definitely wants to unalive that baby. But like, you know, she also doesn't try to escape right away. Like, so her motivations are a little bit, unclear. But I think personally that she definitely was under that the demonic influence enough that she did want to bring her sister in.
Okay.
On some level.
I do wonder if like it could have been either the demon or Norma that did that carving as well. Because wasn't the R backwards?
In that one? Yes.
R was backwards.
Yeah. So that makes me wonder if it wasn't Riley. And also like because there is a demon symbol that appears, which is the WM. So I think like Mia's like initial being half of the demonic symbol was part of that. I haven't connected all the dots on it, but
for them to look like visually similar, like was definitely intentional. And I haven't thought hard or long enough about like what the point of that was, but I clocked that as well. Also worth noting, we see what's the name of the dude, the bad guy, Miles?
Yeah,
Miles.
So like Miles has also drawn this in his prison cell, right? Like we see it in the prison cell,
and his initials are WM as well.
Yeah.
Good catch.
So but like we also see other examples of his writing. Like he has Almighty Tyrion written in his cell, and there are misspellings, but we also see that the backwards R is like kind of a signature of his.
Oh,
but also like I want to point out that like the backwards R is something that we see once we go from like once the film kind of stops being a missing person case and we go into full paranormal. It's almost like we're on the other side of the looking glass. And so now, of course, all the R's are backwards.
Okay.
And explain, like, if we're talking looking glasses and mirrors, to call out your earlier thing, the fact that the symbol for the demonic presence is a W and an M mirrored together,
Yeah.
that also tracks as part of that. Um,
Okay.
okay, so she brings Riley home, allows the doc crew to interview her the day she brings Riley home, which is baffling, but
Bananas.
fine. And then we have this, the scene where, Riley tries to, take action against the child, and Mia tries to stop her, inadvertently / subconsciously, killing her sister. And then we see the demon stand behind her, eyes glow, credits roll.
Mhm.
Or I think, did we cut back at some point? We cut back to news footage, like it could have been right before.
It was right before, because like the
Right
the
before.
film
Okay.
crew was like wrapping up the documentary. That's
Yeah.
like right
This
before.
kind of bugged me that we went back to this docu series, because now here's what we've introduced in this. We've introduced found footage, documentary footage, cinematic footage, and I was in for it for all of that. Oh, here's where it really bothered me. All of a sudden, there was another flashback that we got introduced to where she's seen the demon, which we knew she saw the demon. She told us she saw something. We didn't need this another flashback of her seeing the
You're
demon with the
such a
glass
hater.
cracking.
I
That
I think
bothered
that
me
was
so much.
I think that was the final. This is why this is happening, because the
But
demon
we knew
always
that.
wanted.
It showed us, like, it just
I
didn't show
know.
us the demon before. We
I
saw this whole thing before, but now it's like 4 different
I
types of footage we have to navigate.
I do think it was a nice touch that the glass crack was because the demon saw Mia. It wasn't because it was haunting Riley. It was because it saw Mia.
It's not Riley that's haunted. It's
Yeah,
Mia.
Okay.
basically.
And like you just touched on something that is like my favorite element of like horror. Like the houses aren't really haunted, people are haunted, and that is something that I love about this movie. So I don't care if you hate it. You can be the biggest hater.
I think there's been no surprise. If anyone's listening to this episode, that I am far more critical of this movie. So now we've come to the part where we have to give our judgment. So, in number of gavels, Kat, we are going to start with you.
Okay. I feel like I need to give it a higher, like, to counteract whatever monstrous rating you're going to give this movie.
A retaliation judgment.
I'm giving it 4 gavels.
What? No.
Yes.
Really?
4 out of 5 gavels. I thought it was a solid B+ of a movie. A directorial debut with like I thought it was a brilliant concept. I didn't love the ending. I thought there were some things they could have done more with, but like this is this guy's first movie. Like, and the Blair Witch thing was really, really fun. I know it's not actually Blair Witch, but like we all know that's what it's based on. It was really fun. And also I have to give it a higher rating because I know that you're going to be the biggest hater.
It's gonna eviscerate it.
This is great. You know what? No, I like what you like.
Yeah.
I'm happy you like this movie. I don't see this as an excellent movie, but I'm glad you enjoyed it. Kristina, what about you?
I give it 3. I think it's a good movie. I think it's fun. But it did have its problems. Like, while I could get behind certain reasonings of Mia's actions, like the last action of leaving demon-filled baby in room with trauma-filled sister,
Yes.
I got so mad. I got
Yeah.
so mad.
Very
I'm like,
perplexing.
you were dumbed down for plot, for a good scene that was about to
That
happen.
part was like that was so predictable.
Yeah. And like I did kind of see where it was going really early on, because you have Mia talking about how she couldn't have a baby, and then you find out the demon's an incubus through a Google search, and it's like, oh, demon baby, got it. But it was still enjoyable. I still had a fun time. I still had scares. The mood was good. The music was well done. I think they actually used the same composers as Haunting of Hill House. Um, it it just was a good spook film. Wasn't perfect, but a good spook. So 3 out of 5.
3 out of 5. I am going to give it a 2.
I am vindicated because
there are elements that I thought were okay in the movie. I think narratively they had good ideas, but I don't think there was a cohesion that brought this together. The ending felt so rushed and so underdeveloped. The acting was a real struggle for me. I really did not like Mia. And I don't know why they cast someone. I looked this up. I was like, they don't feel close in age. They are 20 years apart.
Oof.
The actress who plays Mia and the actress who plays Riley.
Well,
that should have been a mother.
I do think because Riley went missing for 12 years, most of her footage is supposed to be like 12 years ago, right? And so for the final scene, she's aged up, quote unquote.
I guess, but still.
So
nothing the actress who played Mia did worked for me. Had we had a little bit better acting and had we filled just a few more of these plot holes, I would have been on board. I would say I was more bored and more like, all right, how much longer do we have in this versus like being gripped. I thought most of the scares were jump scares, and outside of like a few effective ones, I was like, the final jump scare was like it was such a frustrating point for me. It was the documentary director shutting the trunk of her car was the final jump scare of the movie. That to me, it just kind of summed up the movie. It's like, okay, this is where we're at with this, is we're using someone shutting a trunk to try to scare the audience because we don't have anything here. So good ideas. I just don't think it was executed. 2 out of 5, which what that gives us is a total of 9. So for 9 Gavels, this is a hung jury. We have a mixed decide for yourself review for listeners. It is in theaters now. I want to thank everyone for tuning into this episode. I want to thank especially Kat and Kristina for being a part of this jury deliberation.
Happy to be here.
We will be reviewing upcoming. We're going to be reviewing. We're continuing in with this independent or low marketed films with our next 2 installments. We are doing Oddity, which is an Irish horror film, and then we are going to be doing Dangerous Animals, which is an Australian horror film. And then after that, we are doing an entire recap of the It franchise. Where we were watching the 1990 It as well as the 2017 It Chapter 1, and then the sequel, which I think was 2019 It Chapter 2 for the upcoming episodes. So wherever you get your podcast, you can get the Film Jury. Also available on YouTube. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we will catch you all in the next screening.